Virtual Reality by Jack Longwood,
Hudson Deutsch,
Angelic, and Oliver Greenlaw.
The lenses we will be going over today are the social and cultural lens. How does VR affect the social dynamics in our lives? The scientific lens. How does VR affect the brain and body? The futuristic lens and the solutions we'll be talking about. What is going to change in the future, and how can the problems solved by VR be solved? Virtual reality effects. The effects on our behavior. Yugi Han from Stanford University claims that VR affects how people build trust, engage with others, and communicate. Basically, VR changes how we act. A study at Stanford put people in a VR simulation and made them simulate being homeless. Afterwards, the participants were more likely to help the homeless than people who weren't. VR has a great impact on how we think and love and react. The effects on our mental health. According to Hai-Woon Lee, an assistant professor at the University of Texas A&M, scholars have suggested that these social interactions affect VR gamers by satisfying essential needs of belonging and connecting with others. This could be a positive, helping give people down a mental boost, but could also create false perceptions of reality, which in turn deteriorate their mental health. Lastly, the effects on society and medicine. Lisa Serda and her colleagues at Nimes University in France stated that VR is an effective therapeutic tool in many psychiatric disorders, but it still needs to be improved on. VR needs to be able to blur the line from reality and virtual reality, creating a seamless transition. Kai-Soo Chung and her colleagues at the Department of Exercise Science and Sportsmanship at Kennesaw State University says VR can be used to lower stress and fear for those who want to experience social events, who have social anxiety. VR can help acclimate those who have been out of society back into society, who have social anxiety and disorders. The problem. Virtual reality is a threat to future relationships by creating false perceptions of belonging and connection, which in turn deteriorate their mental and physical health.
One solution to the problem, previously stated by my colleague Jack, is to limit or regulate the amount of time people are spending on virtual reality. Companies and producers of virtual reality headsets could implement time limits on how long the headset can be used at once, or they could give a recommended time limit in the instruction manual on how to use the headset. The main reason people are feeling negatively after using virtual reality is ultimately because of the amount of time they spend on it. Envision, a credible source mainly focused on eye health and safety, states that site experts recommend spending no more than 30 minutes on VR without a break. After half an hour of gaming, you're likely to use spatial orientation and awareness of the space around you. This quote is showing how virtual reality can alter how we feel and cause us to be oblivious to our surroundings. Virtual reality takes us out of true reality. When we are out of true reality for a long period of time, it can cause us to think and feel differently. Not only does it affect people's ability to think and feel differently, it can also change how people perceive pain. Another study done by Jingwei Li, a professor in the Department of Psychology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, proves that virtual reality lowered pain intensity and sensitivity when in contact due to being a multi-sensory experience. When it mentioned this being a multi-sensory experience, it proves that virtual reality does not only affect us in one way. It has multiple effects that may not even be noticeable. As the amount of time on virtual reality increases, the risks and probabilities of getting cyber sickness and nausea also increases. An issue with this solution is that people cannot be forced into not using virtual reality, as that can infringe on free will. But a time limit on virtual reality could fix that problem. Another issue is that people may not listen to the time limits or restraints recommended by the producer of the virtual reality headset. If this is implemented, people will use virtual reality less and therefore not feel as badly after using it. This will help almost everyone because they wouldn't have the negative effects of virtual reality if the right time limit is implemented into it. It would not hurt anyone, but some people may choose to go over the recommended amount of time, deeming this solution to be useless.
Solution number 2, implement fun and engaging activities in virtual reality that allow people to play together in order to build healthy relationships. Guo Freeman from the University of Clemson states that though modern-day social VR draws similarities from traditional virtual environments, it affords a variety of nuanced activities, play, and entertainment that may offer unique experiences compared to the traditional virtual environments. This shows that VR companies are already working towards activities similar to in-person activities that allow for relationship building without the possible negative side effects from VR and screen time. Those helped by this solution are skilled virtual reality gamers and people who enjoy VR gaming. These people have an advantage over others because they are able to adapt quicker to new games without the learning curve of learning a new game, and which could make the game boring and prevent people from building relationships faster. Limitations and negative impacts of these fun and engaging activities. People who may not have the best skills at their video game of choice may be harmed by this solution. However, this can easily be avoided by having the creators make the game easier or by having the player choose a game that fits their skill sets better. Lee from the University of Texas A&M says that research depicts that the benefits or drawbacks of virtual reality are reliant on the factors of the players in the game, proving that the amount someone enjoys the game and builds healthy relationships is dependent on themselves and not the game.
In closing, let's take a look at the argument once more as a whole. Virtual reality has the capability to alter social dynamics and thinking processes. This can be either good or bad depending on how the technology is used. On the positive side, VR provides accessible and enhanced networking, allowing people to form relationships and connections. On the negative side, VR is addictive by nature and carries serious mental and physical health risks. These pros and cons conflict with each other, and the future of virtual reality depends on how we act now. There are two possible futures that may arise as virtual reality develops. In the first world, VR takes over people's lives. Digital addictions are common. People choose VR over real-life experiences, and relationships fail as people isolate themselves. In the second world, policy is put into place so healthy habits are formed. Addiction is prevented before it arises, and VR is used to supplement relationships and connect further, revolutionizing human communication. In order to secure the better future, it is important to take a proactive approach to the problem. Regulating time that people use VR is the best solution to achieve this. By educating, advising, and implementing time limits on VR, people will be less likely to form unhealthy habits. According to James Spiegel, professor of philosophy at Taylor University, limiting use equals limiting risk. Quote, while reports of extreme self and child neglect are horrifying, they are not too surprising given the addictive nature of video games, and such incidents are likely to be increasingly common with the widespread use of VR. Technology is advancing faster than we realize, and it is important to work towards a future enhanced by technology, not degraded by it. By resolving to implement time limits on VR, we can prevent a possible crisis of digital addiction and isolation from occurring. Thank you.